It is the largest container ship in the world, the Oocl Hong Kong, a gigantic high-tech freighter made for international trade. One of the most fascinating, but also one of the most dangerous workplaces afloat.
At sea, no one can help you.
The freighter's risky mission, a delivery to the other side of the world in only about 35 days, and each hour of delay costs a fortune. At 400 meters, the Oocl Hong Kong is longer than an aircraft carrier. She can hold more than 21,413 standard containers, more than any other container ship in the world. Oocl, a seaport in South Korea. Here begins the maiden voyage, a risky ordeal for the swimming giant. It is designed for a carrying capacity of 191,000 tons. But so far, that is pure theory. Now we'll see if the ship can actually carry the enormous cargo and transport it in the short time frame. For Captain Lam Chung Fat, this voyage is the highlight of his career and the ultimate test of his abilities.
I'm glad they called me because this is a very challenging thing to bring out a new ship like this. And everything is new on the ship and I have to set up the whole ship. So it's actually quite challenging.
Massive responsibility also weighs on another crew member. Deep in the ship's belly, Levi Chi makes sure that the ship will reach its objective in the time allowed. The chief engineer operates one of the largest engines in the world. But that Levi Chi ended up here was one big misunderstanding.
When I was young, I saw a movie called Love Boat. I said, wow, this man very happy with all the girls drinking and bar, not working. So I decided to be a seaman. And then I found out, container ship, no, you don't have all the bar, beer, party, everything.
Instead, reality strikes. An extremely dangerous workplace. Responsibility for a 2,200-ton engine and enormous time pressure. The transport business is highly competitive. It is dominated by the shipping company that can transport the most containers for the lowest price and in the shortest time. The Oocl Hong Kong may be able to load more containers than any other ship, but on its maiden voyage, the mega freighter must prove that it can stick to the strict timetable. Only then will it be profitable. In Shanghai, the world's largest container port, the ship loads its first cargo ever. It can transport a total of 191,000 tons, corresponding to the weight of 336 A380 airplanes. Now we'll see how the ship fares under such a gigantic load. Till now, there has only ever been a computer simulation. For the crew, the coming days at sea will become their greatest challenge. The same time in South Korea, at Samsung Heavy Industries in Oocl. It is the most sought-after shipyard in the world and as big as a small town. Over 35,000 people build 30 swimming giants each year, including 6 of the new premium class of ships, at a price tag of $950 million. For engineers and shipbuilders in particular, the new mega container ships pose a tremendous challenge. More power with lower fuel consumption. All with one goal in mind, the lowest transport price per container. One man oversaw the entire process of building the new high-tech ship. The project leader, Kim Yong-ha.
스마트 인텔리전트 기술이 접목되어 있고 연료를 절감할 수 있는 친환경 선박이기 때문에 이것이 단지 큰 배가 아니라 세계에서 가장 위대한 컨테이너선이라고 생각합니다.
The Oocl Hong Kong is not substantially longer or wider than other container ships. Nevertheless, it can transport many more containers. In comparison to other megaships of the same size, the Oocl Hong Kong carries an additional story of containers. The secret lies in the ship's design. Its structure contains less steel than that of all other container ships, and so, the lower the tar weight, the more space for cargo. Precisely this relationship of tar weight to gross weight makes it the most efficient container ship in the world.
이것은 단순한 규모의 경제 얘기입니다. 해운사 같은 경우에는 배 두 척, 21,000 TU를 생각한다면 13,000 TU와 8,000 TU 두 척을 운항하는 것이 이 배 한 척으로 가능한 겁니다. 그 말은 선원도 반틈, 운항료도 절감하고 그 다음에 시간도 절약할 수 있는.
But how will the system fare on the high seas? The shipping company's new flagship, the Oocl Hong Kong, is loaded and on the way to Singapore, its first destination port. The crew must check and secure the cargo many times a day, especially the hazardous material and freezer containers. What looks like a smooth ride above water requires maximum concentration below. The engine room, a cathedral of engineering. The engine block is 9 stories high. Its tremendous power shakes the whole room, comparable to a small earthquake. The room's temperature is between 40 and 50 degrees Celsius. The metal is so hot that it can cause severe burns. Every day, Li Wai-chi points out the dangers of the job to his team.
Safety is the top priority. You got all your safety gears ready, is it? All your safety helmet, chip band, and everything is ready, is it? And in good order. And in engine room, when you sit here, no problem. When you go out, you must put the sleeve down because everything is hot. And don't touch any engine. No question? 有没有问题？有没有问题？没有问题。Okay, move. Excellent.
Routine or the slightest carelessness, both can be fatal.
At sea, no one can help you except, I think of someone. God may help you, but sometimes he forget.
Chief Engineer Li Wai-chi keeps an eye on one part of the engine in particular, the propeller, and the propeller shaft connected to it. The problem, with a heavy cargo, the shaft is very sensitive to movements. Sharp changes in course, such as tight turns, can cause the shaft to rub against its casing, and in the worst case, start a fire. If the temperature exceeds a critical point, the chief engineer tells the captain to adjust the course, and thus ease the pressure on the shaft. But today, everything is running smoothly, and the ship maintains its course. Should the shaft ever spark a fire, this would be an enormous danger. In no time, the fire could spread to the entire ship. For this eventuality, nearly 800 CO2 bottles are on board. In an emergency, Li Wai-chi could flood the engine room from here with carbon dioxide and thus extinguish the fire.
I never used this before. It's luck. I think not many seamen have to use this system because this is the CO2 for the engine room. If we're going to put the CO2 to put out the fire, that's the last resort.
The bulk of the distance to the port of Singapore lies behind the crew. Li Wai-chi has performed his task. He has kept one of the world's largest and most powerful diesel engines under control. The first test run of the maiden voyage was a success. In the future, the Oocl Hong Kong will shuttle permanently between Asia and Europe, from China over Singapore through the Suez Canal all the way to England, the Netherlands, Poland and Germany, a course to the other end of the world in a mere 35 days. Captain Lam Chung Fat will stay with the flagship. A total of 6 of these giants link the world's markets, delivering fresh supplies for our consumption. The Oocl Traveller, the world's largest car carrier. If all the automobiles that fit in its belly were lined up end to end, they would stretch for 40 kilometers, twice as long as Manhattan. Today's goal, loading the ship in 12 hours. The Traveller's maiden voyage was in September 2016. There is room for up to 8,500 vehicles on its 14 decks, even for heavyweights of up to 375 tons. Germany, Bremerhaven. Germany, the world's leading exporter, ships 3.5 million new vehicles a year from here. Car carriers transport the cars around the globe. The largest, the Traveller, and its structurally identical sister ships. 6 a.m. Port Captain Kjell Arne Berger is responsible for loading up to 8,500 vehicles. He discusses final changes. All the cars must go to the right place. The eye of the needle is the ship's ramp.
The worst thing that can happen is that we have a breakdown with a big machine on the ramp, as you see out here, because then traffic in and out is stopping.
Once the ramp has been crossed, the cars are distributed over a cargo area of 71,400 square meters, the equivalent of 10 soccer fields. The Traveller can accommodate 30% more vehicles than an average car carrier. But it's not only designed for cars, but also for heavy-duty transporters. The ship's ramp can bear an entire 375 tons. And the doorway, at 12 meters wide, can handle the very biggest monster vehicles. The same goes for the decks. 5 are height adjustable. Thus, there is space for vehicles up to 6.5 meters high. With a total of over 100,000 parking spaces, it is Europe's largest parking lot. Cars, pickup trucks, and heavy-duty transporters all are waiting to be shipped. A scanner system registers all the automobiles that arrive in Bremerhaven. Shunt drivers collect the new vehicles from the lots and drive them on deck. Guides coordinate the parking. An important detail, the cars must be positioned so that the ship's balance is maintained. Parking is not the end of the job. Securing straps keep the vehicles from colliding with one another during storms on the open sea. Along its route, the car freighter constantly picks up new vehicles and unloads others. A logistical masterpiece. Time and again, vehicles must be relocated within the ship to keep the balance right. The adjustable ramps are an enormous help, an advantage of the modern ship.
It's much more flexible than all the ones, so as far as you get to know all its varieties, so that you can lift the panels and liftable decks, it's more easy.
This completely new class of ship was designed and built in the Chinese port city of Xiamen. Engineer Jan Rune Merkin is the head of new building at the shipping company Höegh Autoliners. His assignment with the Traveller, to construct the most economical and simultaneously the most ecologically friendly car carrier in the world. Size makes both possible.
We had to keep the vessel within a certain limit of length, which was less than 200 meters. And within those 200 meters, this 8,500 unit was the maximum that we could get out of that.
A berth is 200 meters long. For every additional meter, a second berth must be paid for. Yet the true engineering challenge was keeping the deck heights adjustable.
Liftable decks is a challenge because in particular for this ship, which have 5 of them, and one on top of the other.
The great challenge, the decks must be light enough to be lifted. At the same time, they must also be sturdy enough to support large, heavyweight vehicles. After only 2.5 years, the first ship of the new class left the shipyard, sent off with a loud blast.
You know, it's a great moment when a ship is completed and when the ship is leaving the shipyard. A usual procedure is that when they leave, they will use the air horn. And it's just like the air horn is saying goodbye, thank you, now I'm on my own.
Loading in Bremerhaven. The ramp can even take monsters like this vehicle. So big that trucks look like toy cars in comparison. A vehicle of this kind can weigh as much as 100 cars. But even this colossus is held only by securing straps. All in all, the ship transports vehicles with a total weight of up to 20,500 tons. Tractors, buses, trucks, diggers, and other construction vehicles fit into the ship's belly. Late afternoon, shortly before the end of the shift, an especially tall excavator must be loaded. It clears the stern opening easily. But then comes the interior ramp. Things get tight. And then the operation team notices that it will not fit through.
The deck was high enough for the unit, but the units are higher than in the booking.
An incorrectly recorded height, and now time is running. The port captain and his team must first tow the excavator away and then find a new parking space for it.
We can easily go into overtime if this happens and stays too long.
Kjell Arneberger rolls up his sleeves. The solution: the excavator will go on the main deck. That way there is no interior ramp to cause problems. The main deck is still too low, but thanks to the adjustable levels, 4 meters 80 centimeters quickly becomes 6.5 meters. Thus, there is room for the excavator too. After nearly 12 hours of work, the job is done. All the vehicles are on board. The port captain receives a final manifest. His job done for today.
See you next time. Good job. So I'm just happy that we finished and everything went quite smooth. We had some small problems with a unit that was a little bit too high, but totally over 600 units loaded and everything went smooth.
And tomorrow, this gigantic car carrier will already arrive at the next port.